Congressman, are you there?
I sure am.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on Radio 1190 and the News Underground show. How are you doing today? Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm doing terrific, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you as well.
Okay, one of the issues and why I wanted to have you on the show was about the Afghanistan withdrawal bill that, in conjunction with Representative Dennis Kucinich, that you had sponsored. And I wanted to talk about why did you support this resolution?
Well, I am a critic of our current policy direction in Afghanistan. I don't think that it facilitates keeping America safe or war on terror to continue to occupy and increase our presence in Afghanistan, a country where Al-Qaeda doesn't even have any significant operations. So at this point, it doesn't really bear a nexus to the war on terror or keeping America safe, and I think we continue to get bogged down there, costing American lives and American money.
So with this resolution, though, would it be for all of the, I mean, if I understand the resolution correctly, then would it be for all of the troops to come out within a 30-day period, and we wouldn't leave any troops in there, or
well, it was within, actually within a 9-month period. The 30-day piece was just starting it, and the last troops would have to be out after 9 months. I think we certainly have a responsibility to continue to help rebuild Afghanistan with aid, building schools, education, but I don't think that our ongoing and indefinite occupation is at all consistent with our own national security interests or the interests of Afghanistan itself.
Well, it seems like Pakistan is more kind of where a lot of the insurgency is coming from. Should we be shifting gears and focusing more on Pakistan?
Absolutely. If you look at where Al-Qaeda is, Yemen, Somalia, Pakistan, they ain't in Afghanistan, and yet that is where American soldiers can not only continue, but we're actually sending 30,000 more. The real menace is a stateless menace. If we occupy any one particular country, Al-Qaeda simply relocates and they go somewhere else. You can't win by occupying countries. You keep America safe by going after the terrorists with targeted operations, aggressive gathering of intelligence, and, of course, a focus on homeland security, all three of which suffer by using our resources almost exclusively in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Well, speaking of the government in Afghanistan, but isn't one of the dangers, though, if we pull out, that government will just fold like a house of cards, and we might have to go back there in the future?
It may indeed fold, and that government is no bargain. His brother is a drug lord, and they're involved with all sorts of shady activities, and I don't know whether what arises will be better or worse, or whether he'll be able to hold on. Our only interest is making sure that terrorists don't gain a foothold there, and yes, if there's a future government that is hospitable and allows terrorists to operate there, we will go after them. But you can't just simply occupy every country that has a terrorist presence, or Afghanistan wouldn't even be on the list, but Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia would.
Would you propose the same for Iraq in the sense that we need to have a faster withdrawal from that country as well?
Absolutely. Iraq has a more of a tradition as a successful state. We had our differences with Saddam Hussein, but it was a functional state, whereas Afghanistan was tribal and failed to function as a centralized state. So there's a lot more likelihood of the state succeeding in Iraq than whether we occupy it or not succeeding in Afghanistan. But again, the correct judgment for America to make is Iraq a base of terrorist operations? The answer is no. The answer has always been no. It was before the invasion as well. It's an invasion that I opposed. But we need to, again, focus on where the terrorists actually are.
Congressman, my co-host Stuart here has a question for you.
Sure.
Hi, Congressman. It's kind of a ticky-tack question, actually. Knowing the existing deadlines that the president has set out for our occupation in Afghanistan, it seems that the way this resolution was written would give the president at least till the end of the year, and he's already stated that we would move the bulk of our troops by July of next year. Didn't seem like an unnecessary exercise, or was there something more to the presentation of such a resolution in the first place?
I certainly hope that he keeps to his timeline of starting to draw down the troops midway through next year. However, there's nothing in law, and that, absent the passage or something like this, that timeline could be altered or delayed, and that's, of course, the real danger, is that we're bogged down indefinitely. But I will certainly applaud him keeping to that timeline if he does, and I believe even implementing a more aggressive timeline to end our occupation.
Well, Congressman, we want to switch over to a couple other subjects that are facing Boulder right now. One issue that's been in the news as of late, and I'm sure you probably heard about it, is the Sacred Heart school issue. Have you, just out of curiosity, have you been in talks with the school or the Archdiocese of Denver or the parents themselves?
Of those, the only ones I've been in touch with has been the Archdiocese. I called Archbishop Chaput, who I've worked with in the past. I talked to his Chief of Staff, Fran, about the situation, and certainly registered my concern with it. They are a private school, and of course can kick people out for whatever reason they want. So all we can really prevail upon is their desire to do good and social justice, and I tried to convince them that they shouldn't hold the innocent children accountable for what they view as the sins of the parents, and that would be what I would advocate for any church leader to take into account.
Well, I know that you have been a sort of a bill, H.R. 4530, the Student Non-Discrimination Act. How would this bill affect a situation like Sacred Heart, or would it affect it at all?
Not at all, because it's a privately funded school. It's a private school. Our public schools are, of course, not religious. We have separation of church and state. They have to accept all students, welcome all students. What my bill would do is prevent our public schools from discriminating against gay and lesbian kids, or failing to act to keep them safe. There's a lot of incidents that have been reported of kids that have been bullied for being gay, been beat up. They've gone to teachers. The school's done nothing. They've dropped out. In some cases, they've been killed. So that's what that is geared after. But private schools can, unfortunately, they are separate from the state. They're not funded by taxpayers, but they can certainly run them however they see fit. So all we can do is prevail upon the conscience of the Catholic Church to reverse their decision in the case of Sacred Heart.
What is the latest status of that bill, that the Student Non-Discrimination Act? What's the status of it in Congress as of now?
We have introduced it, and we have over 60 co-sponsors, which is a very good number, and we're seeking to try to get it included in the big overhaul of federal education policy that is going to be occurring, that we started the hearing process on. So we hope to do that this year.
Well, keeping in line with GLBT issues, there was an article in the Denver Post on Tuesday about the Gay Census Initiative. The National Gay and Lesbian Task Force has launched Queer the Census, attempting to petition census to start counting members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities. Do you support this type of initiative?
Well, I'd have to learn more about what the initiative entails, but of course I think the census should count people, and it shouldn't have a social agenda of not counting gays or counting this or not counting that. I mean, they shouldn't choose what they count. If people are married in a state that has it, they need to count them as married. And if they're not, then they shouldn't. But we shouldn't be using the census for social policy. It simply needs to count things, and things are what they are. So I would support anything that leads to a more accurate count.
Okay. Well, and another issue kind of more closer to CU here at home, the Regents plan on voting a tuition hike of 9%. I just wanted to quickly get some of your thoughts on the proposed tuition hike that the Regents are going to vote on later this month.
Well, I mean, it's easy in my seat to say I'm against it, and I don't think they should raise tuition. It's too expensive, but they're facing some very difficult decisions about how to pay for things and what to cut. I would hope that they have looked at every possible that they could cut without impacting the quality of the education that's provided before they would even consider going to any kind of tuition increase.
Well, thank you once again to Congressman Jared Polis coming on the show. I want to give you the last word. Is there a website or somewhere where people who are interested in the same causes that you are can go to, or do you have an event that's coming up that you might want to let people know about?
Sure, they can go to polis.house.gov, P-O-L-I-S, polis.house.gov. Also on Facebook, you can friend me, Jared Polis, P-O-L-I-S. You can become a fan on my congressional Facebook site or friend me personally as well. And I'm on Twitter, @Jared Polis as well. So wherever you'd like to find me and keep up with me or contact me, I'll try to be there.
Okay, once again, Congressman Jared Polis, thank you very much for coming on the show. We are going to take a short break there, and we will be right back with Dr. Jenny Schuyler as well. You're listening to News Underground on Radio 1190.